Hello, Soundari. How are you doing?
Hi, Lalita. Doing good. Good to talk to you.
Excellent. So today, as part of the series of Courageous Conversations, I'm in conversation with Soundari Mukherjee, who switched from the corporate world. She started her career in Lipton, moved into retail banking, and now is a co-founder with a learning and development company. Soundari, thank you for your time to have this conversation with me on your transitions journey.
Thank you so much, Lalita. It's great fun talking to you as always.
Thank you. So, I basically shrunk your journey into two sentences. So, to be fair, what key career transitions have you gone through? If you could let us know.
Yeah, sure. I think I would say three pivots, since that seems to be the word of the season.
Right.
First, when I moved out of Lipton in '94, it was one of the most interdisciplinary jobs and a great way to learn business, a fantastic role. But I had gotten to a point where I felt that I was focusing on the legal side of the business. I was spending way too much time outside sales tax offices than I cared to. And at that point of time, that was not exciting me.
Yeah.
I remember feeling very frustrated one day and walking into my branch manager's room and submitting a resignation letter without having a job in hand.
My God. Okay.
He was really kind to tell me politely that I was like taking off without having a destination in my flight plan. And he gave me time to think and decide. And that led to the move to ANZ. So the second pivot then came when I decided to leave ANZ Grindlays at what was definitely a very senior role for me at that stage of my career. But you know how it was in those days in Bombay, not great childcare facilities,
Yes.
not a reliable support system. And it was becoming very difficult for both me and my husband to manage our careers and feel that we had enough support for our child. So I decided to take the break because I was also working, through Saturdays and Sundays and all that, on calls at 2 a.m. and things like that. So this led to a move to the Middle East, which normally would have not been in our radar. So, really a very different opportunity that came our way. The third pivot came when we started TESOL with my business partner. I was doing we had moved to Hong Kong and I was doing a lot of different things, total gig economy style. So there was a lot of energy. You know how it is when you're involved in 100 different things. There's a lot of energy that comes from it. But there's also a restlessness of not having that anchor.
Yes.
So when my business partner moved to Hong Kong, it felt as if the world conspired to make this happen. And we anchored onto this thing. And, so that was the third move. Now, our journeys are a marathon and not a sprint. So I don't know what else is.
Yes, absolutely. And, when you look at your transitions, there are two main books on that, one by William Bridges and the other one, Working Identity by Herminia Ibarra. She's my favorite. And if you read those books, or if you have already read those books, typically it says, transitions. William Bridges basically talks about three phases: the ending, the in-between phase, where there's a confusion between the old and new, and then the new beginning. And he talks about ending in terms of what you're leaving and getting into something else. And he basically says that endings has its toll because a lot of who we are and what we are is attached to that ending.
Right.
It can be in careers, it can be in personal life, it can be in something that's happening right now, where some of us get attached to whatever was the old way of doing things, right? And that process can be very long and painful for some people, and probably not as long and painful for some people. But yes, it does involve a challenge because sometimes it's also, for example, for you moving from the corporate world into into an entrepreneurial role,
Mm-hmm.
right, probably had some challenges, because in the corporate world, there's a set structure, there's an infrastructure around you. You have a support system, you have an ecosystem. And even if we have complaints about that many times when we are in an organization, they are a good support system. And when you come on your own, and especially at the initial stages, you wear various hats. So what were some of the challenges that you had to undergo in your transitions journey?
Yeah, totally. I think entrepreneurship sometimes feel like, imagine you're going to go skydiving, have the parachute packed on your bag, you're linked up with your instructor, which in this case, probably you have a partner or not. You're standing on the edge of that aircraft with your arms flared out, and you're you're looking at the sky, you're looking at the world below. There is a big adrenaline rush, which is partly induced by fear and partly by excitement.
Yeah.
So a lot of the times it's that fear as you get out of your comfort zone, which is your own personal first battle with yourself as you take on new initiatives.
Yes.
And that is very much entrepreneurial challenge. When we started TESOL, we didn't have a base of having a corporate life in Hong Kong.
Right.
So business development, and I think that's like sort of the two bad words.
Yes, indeed.
Entrepreneurs is all of our nightmare, right? So there are definitely challenges around that itself. Now, how do you move beyond that and go is, it's sometimes a lonely journey, it's sometimes and hopefully a long journey. And it draws on all our resources of perseverance and resilience. And I'm sure, like with you nodding your head, I know that this is something that you faced as well.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely resonates with me. And, from there, the question that I have is, what have been some of your enablers, during your transitions? And enablers can be external resources or internal resources. That's the system within ourselves, right? So what were some of the enablers for you?
I think, we do storytelling. So definitely a lot of it is the stories that you tell yourself. The self-talk every morning, every evening, every afternoon, whatever, So that's definitely something very important of helping you stay anchored to your purpose, to whatever you wanted to do. I think that's definitely the internal aspect.
Yeah.
What makes you get up in the morning, what motivates you part, right? I think through all these transitions, what was really important for me was like staying relevant, staying abreast of all the changes that were happening, reading a lot, staying connected with people. When I was in Bahrain, I was just doing, a business development role for somebody who was doing Basel II training. And that was a really, to be honest, with very small kids in a new place, that was a role that gave me a lot of flexibility to grow the business as much as I wanted it to rather than anything else, But with that came the responsibility of staying abreast of what is happening. You see that sometimes the conversation piece changes. Suddenly you're only talking play groups and other things, and you're saying, oh, where are my friends? Where are all the people that I used to discuss leadership, and I used to talk about aspirations, the need for power and all that? Where are all those people? And suddenly that ecosystem is gone. So you have to create that for yourself in the transition process. And these are all very much internal. Could be in terms of getting some certifications, Coursera and all were not a big thing at that time, but they are
absolutely
now, so looking at something else. So we did this storytelling certification, one definitely to keep ourselves relevant to the market. So I call it as the MAP strategy, MAP strategy, which is being market driven, which is looking at your aspirations and looking at where you are as a personal. So I think some of these things keep you grounded, and that's from the personal side, because these are all very internal and driven. outside, I think it's just having a great team of people. Like at TESOL, we have a huge support network, energetic, encouraging team. Be it my partner, be it the rest of all of us, really support each other. There is no bad idea. There is no, it's like, oh yeah, you want to do that? Go ahead and do that. What can we do to help you? Kind of thing. So that's, I think that keeps your energy really up and motivated. And having a pool of advisors and mentors from different walks of life. Yeah. People that you can just pick up a phone, call, chat. I have this problem. Oh, I have this idea. What do you think? What are other things that I'm not thinking about and things like that? And really having them on call. And I've been very, very lucky with that as well. So a lot of luck, in other words.
Luck, your own internal resources, and of course, having a strong support network is what I'm hearing. I know, as we go through our journey of life, for me, what success meant when I was 20 and what success means today, they are completely different. And yes, success has a dictionary definition. The Oxford Dictionary has a definition. And yet success is a word which means different things to different people, even for us in our journey. So if I were to ask, or not if, I'm asking you, what does success mean to you?
No, I'm totally with you. I mean, when you said about, different things at different stages.
Yes.
Definitely. I think at some level, we didn't think of success as the end result. Definitely. But at various times, it has meant different things. When I was in school, I remember that there was a magazine called Business India. And I was fascinated to see people like this lady, Mallika Srinivasan, who is now the chairperson of TAFE, Tractors and Farm Equipments, Kiran Majumdar Shah. All these people used to feature on the covers, or they used to put this interview block inside that magazine.
Right.
So I found not only their journey fascinating, getting on the cover of that magazine at that time was a measure of success. Now, luckily for everybody around, that meaning changed as I transitioned through my career. There is a need for, what is a needs theory thing? Need for power, need for achievement, need for...
Maslow's hierarchy of needs.
Yeah, like the three needs, McClelland's needs theory.
Yes.
Things like that. So again, when I was with Lipton and ANZ, it was a bit more external focused. Right. It was, having a satisfied customer, which was, because it was the relationship bank and focusing on that. So I remember, I used to head Bandra branch, which is in Mumbai, and it's a western suburb, right? So a lot of film stars and Bollywood actors there. Yes. So once I got a call from a famous producer to say that his wife was stuck in Australia and couldn't find a flight to come back home, and she needed to be back urgently. I mean, this is not what a banker signs up for.
No.
But luckily, there was a secretary in our main branch whose son was a travel agent, and we managed to get the tickets and get her back. Now, I got a personal note from him the next day saying, thanks for helping my wife get back home. So maybe that was a measure of success. There were targets and other things, but really having those deep customer relationships that they thought it was okay to call you in the hour of need, that was a definition. Right. Now at TESOL, of course, we work with leaders and teams to help them use the organic power of stories in a business context. And the whole, the big, hairy, audacious goal is to bring humanity to the workplace. Right. And we see that more so than ever being relevant now. In terms of how do you as a leader show up and, get that trust. So that is fulfilling. That is in some ways being able to do that is a measure of success. And some of the mentorship programs that we run, it's one way of paying it forward for sure. I've had an easy life, I think, and I know this is my small way of doing something there that sparks a lot of joy personally. And hopefully we've touched lives while we are at it.
That is Really good to hear, Soundri, and I relate to that. Before we end the conversation, is there anything you would like to add as something that I may not have asked, or as a inspiration or motivation to women or men who are considering transitions? What is one key message to them?
I think talk to people, stay in touch. It's all about relationships and it's all about people. Support each other as you, the whole movement of lift, creating that moment of lift for yourself and others around you, and take the ecosystem with you to make
take the ecosystem with you. Yes, that's it's a nice note to end. Thank you so much, Soundari, and see you soon.
Thank you so much, Lalita. I enjoyed the conversation. Bye.
Thank you.